There was a guy that said he didn't care if the entire Minneapolis burnt down. And this was a celebrity. It doesn't even matter who. I mean, there are people speaking out saying this is justifiable, or they're just insinuating that it's okay, because the people are angry. It's such an ignorant perspective. Can we please just look back at our past and learn from this? You do realize innocent people will die. Small businesses will go down in flames and possibly never pop back up. So for the Soros-funded protesters, or just the people that organically want to be out there doing this, I just hope they can take a step back and look at this. Just this little clip. That's all I want people to see. This is Louisville. This happened in '68, and it's happening again. They mention the 9th Street divide at the end of this clip, and this is what contributes to this welfare state, this victim mentality. This is not how you heal. This is not how you heal. You have to raise children that are good people. You have to change yourself.
In 5 decades, and no place knows that more than Louisville's West End, specifically folks who lived and owned businesses in the Parkland neighborhood. Ken Clay is one of them. He grew up here and owned the Corner of Jazz business at 28th and Greenwood.
It was a growing business little enclave. Plus there were a number of businesses down a couple of blocks there on Dumanil, So in this whole strip it was actually the strip.
Today, this strip is much different than Clay or Tony Young remember.
Those businesses made it self-sufficient for the area. A lot of people never had to go uptown. They never had to go out of the area. We had a lot of commerce in this end of town.
That would all change the final week of May 1968. At 28th and Greenwood, in front of Clay's store, a demonstration against the reinstatement of a white police officer suspended for beating a black man weeks earlier.
The mayor and the police chief had earlier suspended him and moved him toward dismissal, but it was overturned by the Civil Service Commission. And so there was anger, and there was built-up frustration.
Then came a simple act that would have a long-lasting effect. It came from someone standing on the roof of Clay's business.
He threw a rock, or a bottle. I think it was a bottle, but it made the sound of a gunshot, I assume. And out of nowhere, a police officer in a car came driving up into the crowd as they were leaving.
Wow.
And that just ignited the whole thing.
Everything's just exploded. Throwing rocks, breaking windows, overturning a police car, a detective's car, overturning a private vehicle, breaking windows, looting, confrontation.
All that right here.
All of this beginning right here.
Over the course of 3 days, businesses were badly damaged, many destroyed. And according to historian Tom Owen, who also grew up here, 1,900 members of the National Guard deployed to this part of town where the relationship between police and residents had long been strained.
You saw large masses of people. They argued, they were upset, and they were just basically lashing out at whatever came by.
During the 3 days of destruction, businesses suffered tremendous loss. Perhaps no one lost more, though, than Fanny Groves.
Yes, indeed.
Whose son James was killed by police during the riots. She believes James, a 14-year-old boy, was mistaken for someone else.
I heard the shots. When they shot him, I heard him scream. The last word was mama.
James Groves Jr. was one of 2 teenagers who died during the riots, but his mother's public plea for peace may have prevented even greater loss.
What I was feeling, I'm going to put it like that, my heart was just about gone. And I said, Lord, if somebody don't try to curb his right, there's going to be many more mothers going to be feeling like I'm feeling.
The violence eventually did stop, but it had already started a trend from which this area would seemingly never recover. Some businesses never returned, others left before the tension peaked, and with them, many white families left West Louisville behind.
It was definitely an area that was on the way up. Very positive growth potential. It would have had it continued its pace then, I think it would still be able to be competitive You know, there would have been new businesses locating, etc. But I think that the aftermath of the riots kind of issued a death knell for this community.
And everyone we spoke to called the riots one of many factors which fueled what's now known as the 9th Street Divide.
The 9th Street Divide is a subliminal thing, in my opinion, because it's just so obvious. If you look at it, on one side you have commerce, and on the other side you have the beginning of the welfare system.
Clay sold his business at 28th and Greenwood, but he still invests in this community today. Despite that, the last 50 years have left him with the reality he prays will be proven wrong.
It may hurt to say that, but the fact is I don't think this place has the growth potential that it once had.
For Young, who also still lives here, it is the hope he had as a young boy that keeps him here, that keeps him optimistic. His city, his West End, his home